that you said it's you and Joshua here. Now, is this fight done? What are we talking about?
You know, it's going to happen. Like, seriously, it's going to happen. We were talking with Turkey tonight, negotiations live.
He's now being talked about as an opponent for Anthony Joshua. Can that fight happen?
I think the fight can absolutely happen. I'm looking at it as Jake versus Joshua, which is quite biblical and it's quite impactful in many.
According to the reports, the Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua fight is officially set for January 2026. Sources say the colossal crossover bout is under serious negotiation. Jake Paul's manager, Nakisa Madarian, confirmed beginning of talks with...
How far have things progressed? Is it something that you can see happening next for Jake and for AJ?
I think we're looking at it happening in Q1 of 2026 is kind of the current discussion. I think it's public that AJ was taking a little time away. I think he had a little surgery. So once he's ready and once Jake is ready, we're going to squarely focus on that.
There are some concerns, aren't there, within the boxing world about Jake fighting someone as powerful as AJ. How much of a worry is that? We saw what he did to Ngannou.
So power is obviously the last thing to go. So obviously AJ has a ton of power and he's still fairly young.
Joshua's camp and Eddie Hearn with Saudi boxing power broker Turki Al Sheikh pushing to back the event. Venues under review include Wembley, sites across the U.S. and the Middle East. Jake Paul, fresh off his win over Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., has dropped a major hint about a showdown with Anthony Joshua, saying it's looking very likely for next year. Paul and Joshua have been exchanging messages, and Paul revealed that Joshua suggested staging the fight at the end of 2025 with a full clash expected in early 2026. His manager, Nakisa Madarian, echoed that sentiment, confirming active discussions for a biblical fight.
Now, I know you're after a world title, but if that doesn't materialize, I know the Tommy Fury name has been floated about. Is there any other fighters who may not be world champions that you're looking to face?
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Joshua.
I think that's the main one that, we've talked a lot about is if it's not for the title, it's looking at Tommy, if he's reasonable, and then Anthony Joshua. And he's adamant that he wants to make that fight happen at the end of 2026.
Anything's possible. And so I like the challenge. People, that's the criticism. Fight someone in their prime who's a beast. I think people just want to see me lose. That's really what the message is behind it all. And Anthony Joshua is an insane fight, but I want that challenge. We've been DMing back and forth. He wants to make it happen. He called me up. And
Paul backed up his public challenge with real momentum, stating an insane clash with Joshua is exactly what he intends next, following his win over Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. He called out Anthony Joshua directly on his podcast and doubled down after the fight, insisting first Anthony Joshua, signaling his intent to shock the heavyweight world. Paul insists that his proposed showdown with Anthony Joshua would be good for the sport of boxing, arguing it brings fresh energy, new fans, and massive global attention.
I want to fight Anthony Joshua, exclusive, because I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua. I know
he
I
just
will
got
beat.
knocked out, right?
Yeah. He doesn't have a chin, and he has no skill, and he's stiff. And I love you, Anthony. We're friends. But I want to fight you. I will beat Canelo. I will beat a lot of people. I will not beat David Bennett.
He has called himself a breath of fresh air and said legends like Joshua, Tyson, Fury, and Pacquiao all recognize the boost he brings to the sport. Paul highlighted that boxing needs revitalization, and his mainstream appeal invites younger audiences who might not otherwise follow traditional boxing. Eddie Hearn has also confirmed that serious talks are underway for a potential Joshua versus Jake Paul fight targeted for early 2026.
You and Joshua here. Now, is this fight done? What are we talking about?
You know, it's going to happen. Like, seriously, it's going to happen. We were talking with Turkey tonight, negotiations live in person, which are always fun. But it's going to happen, and it's just such an exciting fight that crosses the whole globe. When you ask a lot of people about certain boxers, they don't know their names. And everywhere I've been going, I just talk about Anthony, and I don't have, I'm global. So it's just such a good fight for the sport of boxing, and people will think I will die, but I will show them why I can rise against all odds and beat him.
Everyone's been wanting to see happen. Who will be the king of the United Kingdom? And who will be the queen of the unit too soon. I'm praying that boxing doesn't happen to this fight, and what I mean by that is politics. People trying to take more money than they deserve. Fuck the money, get in there, make fucking history. This is one of the biggest fights that could happen over this past decade. Make it fucking happen, Eddie Hearn. Make it fucking happen, Frank Warren. Make it happen, Tyson. Make it happen, Anthony Joshua. We don't need fucking excuses. Don't let boxing ruin this fight.
With Joshua set to return late in 2025 after elbow surgery. Saudi boxing figure Turki Al-Shik is reportedly supportive of staging the bout, increasing its likelihood. Hearn, meanwhile, has sounded a strong warning to Paul. While he acknowledges the massive financial opportunity, he stressed that fighting
Questions with AJ are as follows. We will be ready to fight November, December. We are planning life without Jake Paul, but if that is for real, of course, we take that fight in a heartbeat. I don't just think Jake's doing it just purely for publicity, but at the same time, will he actually do it? We'll find out soon, but we're up for it. But we can't just live in the world of waiting for Jake Paul. So we're going to fight December.
A peak heavyweight like Joshua is extremely dangerous and not to be taken lightly. Eddie Hearn acknowledged the attention Fury's assessment generated, but emphasized there's nothing evenly matched about AJ versus Paul. As he said in a candid interview, if it is a 50-50 fight, you've got no problem seeing it strictly from a promotional standpoint. Tony Bello, former WBC cruiserweight champ, called the matchup dangerously insane, raising serious safety concerns over Paul's considerable size disadvantage.
Jake Paul could last 3 rounds with Anthony Joshua. 3, 2, 1. You've seen he's called him out, presumably.
Yeah, in 2026. I mean, that's like me saying I'm going to go for the gold at the 2028 Olympics for surfing. It's clickbait. But he might just be mad enough to have a go. It's very dangerous, very dangerous. I mean, you saw a guy who has the same size as AJ and who has much more ability than Jake Paul, which is Francis Ngannou. And you saw what happened to him, and that was scary for a while. So, yeah, we can joke about it, but I don't recommend it for Mr. Paul.
I like Jake. He's a good promoter, very good promoter. And he's a funny guy. He's got a great sense of humour, got good people around him, the key, so they know their business. There's a massive weight disparity, and that's a tough thing to give away, especially with somebody who's got so much physical advantage over him, and he's a young guy, AJ. He's not an old guy, he's a young guy. Will it happen? Who knows? Anything happens sometimes in our sport. But I think that is a big ask of Jake beating him. Big ask.
Where are you on this nonsense?
Where am I? I can't see it happening. I can't. Although yes, lots of money, so on and so forth. I can't see it. I just can't. It just obviously as someone who's been a unified heavyweight world champion going in against Jake, but it doesn't sit right. Yeah, and it's like I'm also talking from a health and safety factor. It's like he's maybe a cruiserweight.
Yeah.
Anthony Joshua's a very big, strong heavyweight, and if he turns it on, it's not just a risk of a knockout. It's a much bigger risk. So I can't see it personally, but it's good.
Paul's promoter, Nakisa Badarian, has directly addressed concerns over the physical disparity between Paul and Anthony Joshua, saying, size-wise, we can get comfortable with it. Reported to walk around 215 to 210 lb compared to Joshua, who tipped the scales nearer 252 lb. Badarian argued Paul's strength and rapid growth make the matchup viable. He stressed that Paul's experience at heavyweight-facing opponents, like Mike Tyson, and his rising ring development leave him feeling confident margin-wise. Across the boxing world, professionals from fighters to trainers and promoters consistently express concern over legitimacy, safety, and legacy of this fight. While some acknowledge the commercial opportunity, very few see it as a credible contest.
And Frank Bruno up there, the past, the current. So you're in now, son. You're in the deep end, and he's a good kid and a great fighter. I'm sure people are going to love being part of the journey.
Yeah, I know you're in a bit of a rush here, so I'll move on to Tyson Fury. I'm sure. Are you shocked that Tyson Fury announced he's going to come back to ring? And did you expect him to want Usyk rather than AJ?
I think that he's always going to want to avenge a defeat. I mean, look, he feels that he won both of those fights. You know, I thought they were very close. Don't think he won them, but you know, maybe he does fight Usyk again. We can't control what Fury does. I gave up trying to do that years ago. You've seen from the response online, no one's really interested in Fury against Usyk 3, and everyone wants the AJ fight. But the minute I come out and start saying this and saying that, it probably rolls us back. So what I'm going to say is, good luck, Tyson Fury. Do whatever you want to do. Hopefully it involves giving the public the biggest fight the country's ever had.
Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua, 50-50 fight. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I just said in another interview, great if it is. I mean, if it is, then you've got no problem seeing it. But when AJ, I mean, decapitate's a strong word, but you know, when he renders Jake Paul unconscious like he did to Francis Ngannou, don't then say, oh well, it was Jake Paul. Do you know what I mean? I mean, when AJ beat Francis Ngannou, Ngannou just had a fight that could have gone either way with Tyson Fury. Then AJ poleaxed him, and everyone just said he's just an MMA fighter. Do you know what I mean? Jake Paul's not Francis Ngannou. But as I said before, if you want to see Jake Paul exit the boxing world, make the fight.
Last one, what next for Dave Allen?
Well, Dave Allen's been an incredible project the last couple of months. I mean, look, we've been talking to Deontay Wilder, we've been talking to
John Fury, the outspoken father of Tyson Fury, made waves with an irreverent prediction about the potential Joshua-Paul matchup. Speaking in a candid interview, he insisted Anthony can knock Jake Paul out easily, and if it goes any other way, it must be fixed. Fury's hyperbolic language spoke to his conviction in Joshua's power and experience.
Possibility to happen.
Oh, yeah, it's a possibility that it's a possibility an alien might just land on this fucking grass now. It's a possibility.
Listen, I'm not saying the outcome of the fight, but there's a possibility that this fight could happen, isn't it?
You just said the word fight. In the same sentence, said Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua. This is a guy who was on the Disney Channel, made his name big from the Disney Channel. And I haven't really slated this guy because I think he's doing, some of the things he's doing for boxing is brilliant. This job he's doing with the women is fantastic. I went into a gym the week before he fights Tommy Fury, and there was 200 kids in the gym on a Tuesday night. Kids, he's a big part of that. I give him all the credit in the world. But in the same sentence, he's fought one live boxer in his career, and he lost. What would you say if I put Tommy Fury in with Anthony Joshua?
Suggesting that any Paul victory would be suspicious. However, his son, Tyson Fury, has offered a contrasting wager on this mega showdown. The former heavyweight champion declared that he would bet £1 million on Jake Paul to knock out Anthony Joshua, describing the matchup as a real 50-50 fight.
Paul, Anthony Joshua, as much as he's a monster, he's got a weak mind, hasn't he? So Jake could end up getting into it because Jake's got everyone eating out the palm of his hand. He's a very clever man. So
you really think he's got a chance?
Why wouldn't he have a chance? Look how confident he is. Mate, come on. Like, Anthony would have all the pressure in the world, and if Anthony didn't do him with the first few punches, he'd start doubting himself in his head, because that's what he does. But no, Anthony should win, shouldn't he? But
what do you make of Tyson Fury saying that he's going to put $1 million bet on Jake winning by knockout?
Tyson to leg it, lad. He's retired about 50 times. What's he on about, mate? Just tell him to leg it, and I'd love him. If he walked in here, I'd obviously...
At one point you were good friends.
I'm still good friends, but obviously if he walked in here, I'd act like I'm not talking about him, but then on the camera I'm talking to him. Is this not what we're on?
Fair enough.
Is everyone not fake, or no? We all... What are we on here? Are we all acting like we don't hate each other? Like, come on. Like, what?
You're on absolute smoke today.
Shut your mouth, Tyson.
Fury's comments have sparked significant discussion in the boxing community, with many questioning the validity of such a prediction.
There's been some talk about possibly Joshua using Jake Paul as a tune-up to fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
Seriously?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why so? What impresses you about Jake Paul?
I just think Jake Paul would knock AJ out. I think AJ's a spent force, and I think Jake Paul's on the rise. And I like his new heavyweight look. Bit chubby, bit bulky. Getting there. That's protected. And he just done a great job over the aging Chavez Jr., who was a middleweight, but still.
Sure.
Yeah. I like how Jake Paul calls out the full spectrum from featherweight to heavyweight. Do you know what I mean? Who did he call out? Tank Williams and Joshua. That's just crazy. That's what you call Richter scale call-outs.
Jake Paul responded by expressing confidence in his abilities, stating he would TT the bet, offering £10 million on himself to win the bout.